Afternoon. Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency regular meeting. Today is October 11th, 2023. The time is 6:02 p.m. We'll have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Miller Anderson. I'm sorry. Let's start back with the roll, please.
Chair Lawson.
She really wants to.
Here.
Chair Pro Temp Lanier.
Here.
Commissioner McCoy. Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Present.
Commissioner Botel. Also present, Jonathan Evans, the CRA Executive Director. Scott Evans, Director of Planning and Development. Anita Jenkins, Director of Neighborhood Services. Shirley Desir, Interim CRA Clerk.
Thank you. A moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Miller Anderson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions for our agenda this evening?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we would like to have a brief discussion with the board about the execution of an MOU for the purposes of obtaining grant funding. Ms. Jenkins will be able to provide that presentation with the board, but that's the only request of staff.
Stefan? Okay, thank you. Let's do a disclosures by commission and staff.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
where are we adding that to?
We'll add that to 7C.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
had a very brief discussion with one of the recipients of one of the grants this afternoon.
Okay. Any other disclosures? Motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Botel.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Chair Pro Temp Lanier.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes. Madam Chair, if I may. Pro Tem.
Yes, go ahead.
I would have to defer for the attorney, but I think the ability to participate, I think maybe have to be if that council person is ill.
I see.
So they can participate in the meeting, but I don't think they can vote, but
That's
we would have to wait for the attorney to opine, but I think that's what the statute calls for, the rules.
Okay, very good. Next on our list is the consent agenda. This is routine board business and it is approved by a single majority vote. Items may be removed for open discussion at the request of any of the city CRA commissioners.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Botel.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Chair Pro Temp Lanier. That motion carries. Resolution number 2023-21, approving 2 applications for the Commercial Grant Incentive Program and 2 applications for the Signage Grant Program to assist local businesses and improve properties in the Community Redevelopment Agency. The acceptance of public comment cards are now closed. Madam Chair, we do have 3 comment cards.
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I can have Mr. Scott Evans, the Director of Planning and Development for the CRA, to make this presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the CRA board. Staff is requesting approval of grant applications received, 2 commercial grant improvements and 2 signage grant improvements. These programs are available on a first come, first served basis until the available funding is utilized. The commercial grant program is designed to assist local businesses to improve their properties with external improvements to their property, from facades to landscaping, parking, building improvements. And the program provides up to $40,000 in matching funds for these improvements. The signage program provides up to $12,000 per individual business as a grant and up to $100,000 for multi-tenant properties. Tonight, we have before you two applications. The two commercial grants would provide grants totaling $61,772, and the two signage grants would total $24,000. The commercial grant application, the first one is received by So Betty Bush Canvas, which is two businesses located at 2028 Broadway. They are requesting to install additional cameras and a security system, and to install a new drainage system in the rear of their property as they've been having some issues with flooding. And that proposed cost is $27,215. And the grant amount, if approved tonight, would be for $21,772. The second application for commercial grants is from Inner City Youth Golfers Museum and Training Center. The applicant will use the grant funds to install installation of sod and landscaping trees, a 6-foot aluminum fence, on-site irrigation, and exterior LED site lighting. And that projected cost for those is $118,900, and the grant would be $40,000 that would be provided towards that. They have also requested a signage grant. The total is $12,000 under that, and the total signage that they're planning to install is $37,900. They would have signs on their new proposed building, which is exciting that they've started construction. And then they would also have a monument sign on the site along 13th Street. Villigo Coin Laundry has applied for a signage grant. The applicant will install a new front awning on their building. It would actually wrap around it. And then they would also do some small signage on their windows and on the side of the building. And that the signage costs total signage cost is $13,677. And the signage grant, if approved, would provide them $12,000 towards that signage improvement. The programs, the board approved availability of funding for the commercial grants on January 23rd of this year. And the signage grant funding was made available on a first come, first served basis also by a resolution which was approved on June 28th, 2023. The attached resolution, which would approve the 4 grants, also provides that the CRA will obtain independent contractor pricing for all commercial grant applications to ensure that the pricing that they've submitted is appropriate. And we do that. We've been doing that for several years now to ensure that the dollars are spent appropriately. The grants are funded out of the 2023-2024 annual budget. The commercial grant program has a total available budget of $350,000, and the signage grant program has a total available budget of $200,000. And staff recommends approval of this resolution, authorizing the 4 grants, 2 for signage and 1 for commercial property improvements. And future grant applications will be brought back before this board as we receive them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair?
Let me take public comment first,
sure.
and then we'll go back. Public comment, please.
Sure. Alfred Denard, followed by Cynthia Beckton.
Good evening. I just came to show my support for Inner City Youth Golfers Incorporated. And that's all. I just wanted to come and make sure that we put in our application for the signage and submit our requests. That's all I have for you. I yield my time.
Thank you.
I, Cynthia Beckton, followed by George Lindley.
Good evening. Hi, Cynthia Beckton, 500 West 24th Street. It's really a pleasure to be here. Yes, I do stand in support of item 7A, but I want to make it very clear the young man that just spoke before me is being very modest. He's a resident of Revere Beach. He's an engineer raised in the community. And so it's always nice to see young people stand and have a voice in things. Don't ever want to miss that opportunity. And so, yes, I do support. I'm going to yield to these experts back here. They told me just to stand as an elder and say, I'm okay with this. And I'm doing my job.
For your comments.
George Lindley.
Good evening. My name is George Lindley. I represent the Palm Beach County Sports Commission, the sports tourism arm for the county. Wanted to come here and on behalf of our sports commission express our support for the African American Golfers Museum and the ICYG Golf Club. It's quite a special moment when we're talking about this. I do want to thank the City of Revere Beach for their partnership and the CRA for the consideration of this grant. We are Florida's golf capital. We have an entity that has made incredible investments and created incredible benefits for golf, from encouraging our youth, particularly youth in the inner cities, to embrace a sport that means so much to our destination, and from representing the height of the sport through the African American Golfers Hall of Fame. This museum will not only cherish and celebrate pioneers, legends, and those that made a greater difference than most within this game, but this museum will be a permanent home for the only global Hall of Fame that lives in our county within the African American Golfers Hall of Fame, and will not only be an opportunity for our residents to enjoy and celebrate this sport, but it will be an opportunity to attract visitors from across our county, state, and the nation and beyond, hopefully. And when we're, as a sports commission, when we're promoting golf as well as sport in general, this certainly will be something that is top of mind. And I think it will shine an incredible spotlight on the city of Revere Beach and on Palm Beach County. We're already promoting within our publications and with our media, the African American Golfers Hall of Fame and ICYG, and now with the museum and the golf club coming to life, this will be something that will be top of our mind and will be an attraction that we will be spotlighting through us, through our CVB, and through the entire TDC family. So again, thank you for the consideration. It's an honor to be here, and just wanted to express our support from the Palm Beach County Sports Commission.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, Madam Chair, that is all.
Thank you. Dr. Botel, you had a question?
Yes, Mr. Evans, I know I asked you this in our agenda review, but for the purposes of anybody watching who might have the same question, I wholeheartedly support these applicants, and I'm going to vote yes on this issue for sure. But I had a question about the previous signage grants and what happened with those signage projects, because people will be asking me.
Our signage program identifies some target areas, our multi-tenant properties, where we could have multiple signs changed all at once, which would make a big impact. We have spoken several times to those various owners, and they are interested, but we haven't received any formal applications from them. So staff has initiated our own effort to develop signage plans for those sites. So that way we're developing the plans, getting the design concepts together, and then it will still require the property owners to agree to participate. But in order to try and make some of those signage enhancements happen, Now developing the approach. So hopefully the property owners just have to agree. And we're hoping to bring that back in December.
That's great. Thank you very much. And let me just, another note, say, I'm thrilled to be able to support the inner city youth golfers. Malachi Knowles has done such an amazing job getting this project started, and hopefully we'll see it come to fruition in the not too distant future. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments in regards to this item? Let me ask a question as well. Is this a matching grant?
The signage grants are a straight grant for $12,000. So if the sign costs more than $12,000, then the applicant is required to contribute to it. And if it costs less, then the grant is only for whatever the amount that the sign ends up costing. And the commercial grants, which there's 2 of them, the applicant is required to contribute. It's a 4-to-1 match, so about approximately 20% of the cost the applicant has to contribute, which is the case for So Betty. They're contributing 20% of the cost. In the case of inner city youth golfers, the list of items they're requesting that the grant goes towards will cost over $100,000, and our grant program caps out at 40. So their match would be much more than the amount that the CRA is putting in.
No, I understand. I'm saying that the 40 that we're providing, is there a match with that amount?
Yes, they will provide $118,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they'll provide the difference. So
No, I'm just asking. Someone asked me about the matching part of it, and I wanted to find out also as well. It was advertised in June, you said? June or July? I remember it, but I can't.
yes, we released funds for the signage grant on June 28th when the board approved that resolution.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, Chair, in regards to this item?
That I will tell you.
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. No other questions, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Botel,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson, Chair Pro Temp Lanier.
Yes.
That vote passes 3-0.
Next item?
Resolution number 2023-22 to endorse the application process for the Small Business Incubator Program, Riviera Beach. The acceptance of public comment cards are now closed. Madam Chair, we have no comment cards.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair and members of the board, at this time, I'll ask for Ms. Anita Jenkins, the Director of Neighborhood Services for the CRA, to make this presentation.
Good evening, Chair Pro Tem Lanier, Commissioners, and Mr. Lawson on the phone. This item is a request for the board to endorse the application process for our Small Business Incubator Program. The program is ready to move forward. Over the last few months, you all have had an opportunity to be familiar with some of the potential projects during the budget process. The CRA will market and identify incubator participants, as well as manage and monitor the program as requested. These activities include a request for proposals, marketing the opportunity, assisting with the evaluation of participants, program administration, receiving required documentation, and evaluating and monitoring results. We've previously shared the criteria for the Small Business Incubator Program that we call Riviera Beach, where it will operate within the redevelopment area. A participant will be an emerging business owner who can receive technical assistance through the program with the intentions of operating either an incubator space provided by the CRA either with or without improvements. If no incubator space, or if an incubator space is provided by the CRA or a partner developer as part of a development plan approved by the City of Revere Beach or CRA, they may also participate in a live, work, loft situation. This assistance can go towards a pop-up space provided as part of a CRA experience, for instance, through the Tiki Market, and we may eventually be able to support what's called a maker space or an innovation park. The criteria includes the threshold requirements for small business owners. We've laid out the types of assistance that can be funded through this program, including providing for a below market lease, for build out assistance, loans, grants, technical assistance, marketing, etc. The application process is laid out in the guidelines, which we brought the draft guidelines to you, and we're here tonight to ask for approval for the process. We are working with the developers of the Found Care project, and they are moving forward with their site plan approval process. And before you, if you can go back, Walter, you'll see the latest renderings for the building that are on the screen. We we would like to start the application process with the intent, if it is approved tonight, to receive applications and then have evaluations starting in December, mid-December through the 1st of January. We would bring back presentations to those deemed suitable to you in late January, with final selection the end of January. We anticipate, if we're successful in bringing forth a contract execution, the end of February. You might ask, what are some of the risks or mitigations with this program? One of them, if we identify applicants, is that the applicant may or may not receive all of their other funding needed for the business. And we would try to mitigate that by making sure that we keep a close watch and that counseling is provided to help them identify additional resources through some of our program partners. What if the business is unable to open timely? Staff will have regular project meetings after the selection to make sure that the small business owner is on target. What if the business might have difficulty acquiring adequate staffing and funding after commencement? We will match them with business coaching to make sure that they are not just thrown into the fray, where they have the technical assistance necessary. What if the business owner will or may not meet his or her performance targets that we've laid out in the program? We intend to create a performance plan up front with short-term targets that we'll report to you on a regular basis. And what if there is business failure? Because sometimes businesses may not succeed going forward. We will then identify additional businesses through our business search pipeline. The budget approved in our recent budget process was $400,000 for this program, and the CRA would not have any additional financial obligations to the small business owners. Although if the owners, for instance, might acquire a commercial loan or business loan, we may have to subordinate our interests at some point, because our dollars will be secured by a restrictive agreement with the small business owners. The next steps in this process is that we will continue our community engagement and outreach. And then we, if approved, we'll process the applications and we will continue to promote the activity. So we're asking if you would approve the process so that we can get started and release the application for letters of interest, which will be due the end of this month, October 30th, with full applications due to us by December 15th. So I'll stop and see if there are any questions.
Let me ask a question about the, I see the list of all of the items that maybe a potential incubator business may have. I just want to be sure that, when you talked about one of the businesses may be able to get a SBA loan or get a loan, I really want to make sure that this incubator business is for small businesses that may not be able to get SBA loans or may not be able to get, bank loans at the time. That this particular project is to make sure that business get to that point. Is that where we're going with this?
There are different elements to the program. One of the first steps and the first pot of assistance that we provide to emerging entrepreneurs is through our Business Sense Bootcamp, which has graduation next Tuesday, and we hope that you all could attend and hear some of the business pitches. The additional categories for assistance include not only build out assistance or rent subsidy, but we can provide dollars through the program for technical assistance, for business coaching. There may be, for instance, graduates in the Business Sense Bootcamp or a similar program where someone is not quite ready to go into a built space. And we can provide assistance in marketing, loan packaging, et cetera, to help to get them to that level.
So the individual that is that may be eligible for this, they would have had to have gone through this business's boot camp to be eligible?
Through this program or something similar. It does not necessarily have to be our program. For instance, the city of West Palm has a similar type of program. Palm Beach County provides programming similar to ours. So it is not restricted. We hope that they do because our program, we think, is tried and true, but they have an opportunity to seek some initial boot camp type of assistance.
The reason I'm asking this is because it seems as if with this approval tonight, that the individual who may just be finding out about this tonight, about the incubation program, will have until the 30th to even put an interest letter in, and then the 15th to be able to be eligible. But excuse me, but may not have gone through some of these boot camps because they just knew tonight that the program was available.
People still will have an opportunity to apply. Tonight, you're approving a process to identify potential participants for the Found Care project. It's for
Okay,
the
this is not
Found
just
Care
the
project.
incubation project in general.
Right. They could apply for the program in general, but we want to identify applicants for the Found Care project tonight.
Okay, and those applicants have the opportunity to attend one of these type of programs before they're considered or not considered, so to speak, for this particular pot of money.
Yes.
They would have a chance to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that that's an opportunity for someone that may just be looking at this meeting tonight and say, well, that may be something I can do, but then also have an opportunity to go through the process, because I see that it started in September 5th, and that's a month ago, and maybe they're just hearing about it tonight. So I just want to make sure that people who know about this now are given the same opportunity to be able to participate.
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
if I may, and Ms. Jenkins, if you can provide additional clarity, and Councilperson, if I'm, so is there time from tonight's presentation for Jonathan, if he sees it here tonight, to be able to go through the program and be able to successfully complete the program to be eligible for the spaces with Found Care? And I think then part and parcel, yes, for future sites, or is that time already expired to where persons that may see this evening would not be eligible for that particular space?
They could. Our classes have graduation next week, but I know that there are programs that are ongoing all the time. And I would encourage people to apply, and we can perhaps point them to other programs that they could participate in between now and when the application is due in December. There are other programs. West Palm Beach has a program that is much more frequent than ours. And FAU has one that starts right after ours. So there are opportunities throughout our community. And a number of them are virtual, so it would not be a hardship for anyone.
Okay, so okay, so that person would they see it tonight. They'd be able to say, okay, I want a space
Sure.
over here at this. I could be able to do that.
Sure. Yes,
so,
ma'am.
So has the city TRA decided what those spaces are, like the number of spaces and what they could hold? Like, is it just office space or is it just, excuse me, because it'd be retail space? I'm sorry. Is it retail space? Is it food space? I mean, have we decided that yet?
I did not bring the floor plan, but if you recall from the presentation, and I'll look towards Scott, but at our last CRA meeting and through the budget process, we showed the proposed floor plan is 5,000 square feet. We're anticipating that 2,500 square feet will be set aside for restaurant food businesses. And for a space that size, we think that it could accommodate 2 restaurant style activities within it, or food court type of activity for several restaurants. And then the space would accommodate 2 other business spaces. The criteria identify a broad range of businesses that would be attractive for this space. In our lease, in the city's lease with Found Care, there are some limitations that the businesses that come to the space cannot compete with uses that Found Care anticipates having in that space. But the other 2 spaces of $1,250 each, you might have, for instance, an esthetician's office, or we might have an imaging suite or something of that sort that would not compete and would be compatible. You might have a personal services type of business located in some of the space. So the application lays out a broad range of what's acceptable, what's been approved by this board, and it also mentions what the city commission agreed to in the Found Care lease in terms of what could not go into that space.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that anyone who was watching tonight would not miss out on the opportunity to at least apply for one of those spaces and just the city's incubation program in general.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
with regards to that, also, I will have staff, if this item moves forward, I will have staff put out communications that saying these are the available courses or the available programs that you would have to complete in order to be eligible for this particular space. So persons know that we're not going to be able to provide it, but there's other entities, and this is how you contact them to register as well. So persons will know, hey, the program is open. We're not offering it right now as it relates to the classes, but other entities are, and we encourage you to reach out to register through those entities. And if you complete it successfully, you would be eligible for consideration for this particular space.
I had a question. Oh, okay. Yeah. So what is the marketing piece for this? How would this be marketed to the residents of the city?
Firstly, a flyer will be posted to our website, city's website. We have a list of partners that are outlined in the criteria that we will share it with. I've done presentations and staff has done presentations with the Black Business, the Black Chamber of Commerce, BBIC, et cetera. Through our business class, we have a mailing list of previous attendees of the business program of 800 entrepreneurs who will receive it. So it will be public notice. We'll share it with the city for their constant contact. We'll send it to all of you so you can share it with your contact list. Our partners have agreed to send it out to their contact list where they're working with people for the certification, the certification process, et cetera, and the training process. So we will be casting a wide net to make sure that people know that the opportunity is available.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there any other questions about this program? Chair?
Yeah, Madam Pro Tem, thank you. I had the same question that you had in reference to the marketing and advertising, so thank you for that. Ms. Jenkins, when you said that the marketing and advertising for the event will go through the Chamber, BBIC, and different organizations, are we planning on sending any type of mailers or communications out? I know we had a very successful event based upon the mailers that went out previously. So I was thinking possibly some type of mailer or newsletter, just so that we can make sure they're notified properly.
Yeah, we intend to do a digital mailer, but we had not planned to do an actual physical piece. We can have flyers at key locations for people to take the paper application. We always have packets at our office at City Hall, here at the marina. We'll have them at the library for people to pick up as well. And if you all have any other
I
suggestions.
think a physical piece would be perfect. No, I'm sorry, Ms. Jenkins, but I agree. If we can the physical piece, I think that'd be great, so that we can have ambassadors take that around, or if we can take that to some of the small businesses and just have it at some of the events and activities we have coming. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge that our attorney, Chris Smith, is on the dais. Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, we can also pull the business tax receipts, the address for those business, and do an affirmative mailing to those local businesses. Because, if you do a mailing to the utility accounts, some residents may, but if you send it out to the business community, those would be the folks more inclined to consider that. Plus, it also is an opportunity to advertise for opportunities to partner with the CRA from a variety of different things. So we can work on an affirmative marketing piece that will go out via mail.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to that. Any other questions? Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Botel?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Pro Temp Lanier?
Yes.
That vote passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins, for your presentation. Our next item, 7C, Mr. Evans.
Madam Chair, before I proceed with providing the update, Attorney Chris Smith would like to provide some information about physical quorum and virtual participation in meetings. Attorney Smith?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I apologize for being late. Under COVID rules, you were allowed to appear virtually and vote and be a part of the vote. But since we've came out of COVID, those rules were rescinded. So the only time you can appear virtually and your vote count is if it's an extraordinary circumstance, which is defined as an illness. So if a person is ill and cannot physically get here because of an illness, their vote can still count. But if it's not due to an illness, they can still participate in the meeting, but their vote cannot count towards an item.
Thank you for that information, Attorney Smith. Mr. Evans?
Yes, Madam Chair. There's an item here that we would like the board to consider. Staff has been working very diligently to effectuate some of the desires of the board concerning housing, and Ms. Jenkins has been working diligently and has identified an opportunity that we are asking for the board's authorization to enter into an MOU, and Ms. Jenkins will provide more specificity on the opportunity here. But also there's a lot more of the documents and information that will be forthcoming to the board if the city is successful. Ms. Jenkins?
Thank you, Mr. Evans. I would like to present to you a program that we're calling Pathways Home. U.S. HUD released an opportunity for grant funding to communities that are severely affected by cost-burdened households, by the lack of affordable and workforce housing around the country. and the grants are available up to $10 million. When we looked at this, there was a short window of time to apply. So let me apologize for not bringing a written item to you all for consideration, but the timing is key. The grant is due the end of this month, but in getting into the grant, there is a requirement that the draft proposal be posted for the public to see for a 2-week period, and then there is a public hearing as a follow-up before the grant could be submitted. We identified this opportunity and knew that it would be a heavy lift for us because we're not an entitlement community, but we felt that we could make a very credible application. So we're proposing to submit an application, and we're asking for your approval for us to move ahead with the application process and all that it entails in conjunction with the City of Lake Worth Beach CRA. And you may ask, why would we do it in conjunction with another municipality? And the initial answer that I gave is that 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Lake Worth, the city of Lake Worth was very successful during the NSP grant process and has a great reputation with HUD as a small city, and they have the infrastructure that could assist us. The proposed program we've named Pathways Home, Neighborhood Housing Solutions for Palm Beach County, pathways to removing obstacles to housing through what's called the Pro Housing Grant with you as HUD. The application draft, and let me emphasize that it is a draft, has been uploaded to the city's website. So if you'd like to take a look at the draft application and the letters of support that we've received as of 4 p.m. this evening, please do so. It's a huge document, and it's available for the public to see. Within the budget, we're proposing that Lake Worth Beach would be the lead agency and responsible for the monitoring and reporting, and through the HUD's DRGR system, which we don't have here at the city, and that the city of Riviera Beach and the CRA would be a partner, and hence we need approval for Mr. Evans to execute the documents in interlocal agreement and MOU, and there are various HUD grant application forms that have to be signed by an official of the city government. The proposed budget is $10 million, $5 million for Lake Worth CRA / City of Lake Worth Beach, and $5 million for Riviera Beach and the CRA. And it's very important that we execute these documents as partners to allow the city and the CRA to be able to expend any of those dollars. We also sent out to you a day or two ago a request for each of you to provide, if you would, a letter of support. And I'll say what I said to someone a little earlier. Note that all of the city commissioners and CRA commissioners in Lake Worth did an individual letter. We're expecting letters from our congressional delegation, from our state delegation. We have a number of partners who participated in the Housing for All process who are working in Lake Worth Beach and in the city of Riviera Beach. You know that we are the pilot site for implementation of the Housing for All plan, and we've been involved as staff in the discussions for implementation of the bond program, which was considered by the county commission on Tuesday. So I'll stop and see. Let me also mention that the activities would include support for our housing and workforce housing activities. There proposed some dollars to assist with home buyer education. with counseling, with some infrastructure improvements, for instance, for low-income residents to be able to pay or afford for utility connections. We're proposing a line item that would help and assist with that, which would be a great boon for low mod buyers. There would be some support for our rehab program. You know that you all have been very generous in supporting our reclaim program, but we have such a demand for it that we need, and we were asked to identify additional sources to provide dollars for that. And this grant is an attempt to meet some of the directives that we were given during the budget process. So I'll stop and see if you have any questions.
So that's just one letter, right? Not two, because we're both.
Ma'am?
Since we're both city council and commissioners, do you need two letters from letterhead from each agency, or just the one combined?
We'll take one combined, and maybe if the letter references that, in both capacities.
Okay.
I think just to tell you how thorough we're trying to be, I think we probably have 40 letters of support, and we're waiting on at least one from our U.S. Senator, and there are just a number of other partners. Palm Beach County is supporting this application. They decided not to apply. And let me also clarify for anybody in the public who may wonder why we're partnering with Lake Worth. Through Housing Leadership Council did a survey to the best of their ability of municipalities to try to determine who might be local competition or who might be applying, to make sure that we try to maximize our chances for this grant.
Any questions from the board in regards to this item?
Madam Chair, just thank you for your work on this. You have our complete support, and we appreciate everything you do.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
And also, we would need an affirmative vote from the board to authorize that the executive director can execute the MOU, with the understanding that any contracts, agreement, and things that bind the city CRA would have to come back as part. This is just merely to satisfy the application and the posting requirement that is necessary for the opportunity.
Motion to allow the executive director to do what he just said.
Second that.
To
Kind
allow
of vague.
the executive
Allow the
director
executive director to move forward with this grant application
Second.
and all the things that
and the
entails.
MOU. We got it. Very good. We got a second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Botel,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Lanier.
Yes,
That vote passes 3-0.
thank you. Thank you
Very much.
for your presentation, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you.
My letter's in the mail.
Ma'am?
My letter's in the mail.
Yeah, mine's too. Discussion by Executive Director.
None, Madam Chair.
General Counsel?
None, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have a public comment
Oh, I'm
card.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, go ahead, public comment. Let me read the statement first. Comments from the public. Non-agenda item speakers shall begin at 7:30 p.m. unless there is no further business of the city council, which in that event, it shall be sooner. In addition, if any item is being considered at 7:30 p.m., then comments from the public shall begin immediately after the item has been concluded. Please be reminded, the CRA Board of Commissioners has adopted rules of decorum governing public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted at the front desk. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the commission chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Public comment shall begin at 7:30 p.m. unless there is no further business at the CRA Board of Commissioners, which in that event, it shall begin sooner. This is saying this again. Any person who would like to speak during public comment, please fill out a public comment card located at the front desk and give it to the staff before the public comment section is announced.
Madam Chair, we have one public comment card. Carl Muhammad.
Good evening, everyone. Coming here tonight, I want to take three words: equity, history, and investors. I come here as one of the children of the slaves or the African Americans that have been residing here in Palm Beach County for a long period of time. I know I've been dealing with the CRA here in Riviera Beach for at least 20-something years. And we as an African American community, we don't have one restaurant, one grocery store, we don't have one gas station, we don't have one cleaners, we don't have nothing, none of the things that we had 20 years ago. And it doesn't seem to be appearing to be an importance of anybody else. I see how we're talking about signage. I see how we're talking about all of the development of the buildings, but we know that we have a major problem with human development, and particularly with our school district. And we know that here in the city of Riviera Beach, last we got a report, it was fulfilling the elementary schools here, and we never heard of anything being done to change that. My thoughts are that I know that I can't do anything because I see the direction that the city is going, but I do say to those of you who put your history down, because it's going to be recorded in the annals of history. I hope and pray that sincerely that you will consider doing something meaningful for my community, because we don't have one report of one good act of kindness coming from the CRA here in the city of Riviera Beach, now in Palm Beach County. And we know that the city of Riviera Beach always in the past had been identified mostly with Blacks. And when I think about what the lady was talking about the small businesses, y'all know y'all been playing that game on our community for the longest. I mean, we've been talking about small businesses and all of that kind of activity. And still, if I ask you right now, could you name me one thing of consequences, one thing of substance that is to help us to develop inside of our community? And I know that you don't have, not one. And I'm hoping that you would consider these kind of thought processes, because I know that others won't tell you things, because most of the time right now, we have people that have been coming into the city that have large pockets, and they've been able to buy different people to do different things that they're desirous of. But I do say to those of you who are have some kind of spirituality or some kind of God consciousness, I hope you would look under your blanket and see what you could find to help those inside of my community to try to get some kind of balance, because we're totally on all of your Richter scales. We're on everything on the bottom. And I'm hoping that some kind of way you could help us in some kind of meaningful way, because I do believe that CRA is redevelopment, but consider the investors who invested in order to give you the opportunity to do the things that you're doing. And the Black community was a major participant in that kind of activity. And I know I can't do nothing to change things, but y'all stop. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. We'll go back to our executive director,
Nothing, Madam Chair.
our attorney,
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Botel,
Nothing.
Council Commissioner Billy Anderson,
Nothing.
Chair, Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Hey, Madam Clerk, I did have a question.
You're not supposed to be having that much fun.
I know, right? That's a
I
lot
have
of
a
fun, but go
question
ahead.
Question for the attorney. Mr. Attorney Smith, you referenced that if there were a circumstance that the commissioner could not attend, they had no ability to vote, but unless they're ill. Are we required to provide any documentation? Is this just notice? Is this going to be a doctor's note, or just we're sick? Like, how is that going to be referenced by the board? So just so we can have understanding.
Well, just a statement would do. We wouldn't need a doctor's note or anything like that. But if there's a statement that the commissioner says, hey, I can't come because I'm having this medical issue, and so I cannot appear in public, that would suffice. There's nothing in statute or in the Sunshine Handbook that requires any kind of representation beyond just the member's statement.
Oh, no, that's perfect. So just the statement is necessary. I just want to make sure that we're clear. I appreciate it, Attorney Smith, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. There are two gentlemen over here at the table that I do not know, sitting over here. That could you introduce yourselves? I saw you the last meeting, but I don't know who you are. Could you introduce yourselves to the public, please?
Good evening. My name is Todd Bowser. I'm a project manager for the CRA. I've been with the CRA approximately 7.5 months now.
Ooh. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Chris Lopresti. I'm the Clean and Safe Manager with the CRA. I work with the ambassadors.
Thank you, sir.
Been here since May.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just have seen them, but I did not know. Thank you so much. And with that, meeting is adjourned.